And there we go. We are here, episode 107 of Ring Takes here. Two out of the three amigos today. I'm Daniel. I'm joined by Brian as always. Lewis is handling some personal matters, so he'll be back with us next week. But yes, we are here. Episode 107. WWE crosses the line, especially with recent releases. Of course, let's get into it. WWE crosses the line with recent releases of R-Truth and Carlito. Um, where do I begin? I was probably more upset when this happened when it was first announced. What was it on Sunday? No one liked this move from WWE, and everyone instantly was mad at Triple H, TKO, and basically it feels like this new era of WWE outside of the initial reboot, with Triple H saying this is the new era and stuff like that. This did not sit well with anyone, myself included. How did you feel about this, Brian?
Well, specifically about R-Truth, when I had learned the news, my first reaction was, get the fuck out of here. Not the national treasure. That's R-Truth. I mean, I was completely shocked. But the crazy, just the frustrating thing about it is it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
Well, him of all people, and I've seen all the. I saw all the posts on social media, the tremendous amount of support that he got. I mean, I haven't seen that much support for a superstar getting released, and I don't know how long. You would have to probably go back a couple of years to somebody very significant to get released, because the outpouring of support that he got was just crazy. But it just felt wrong. And I remember, I think WWE, they did one of those WWE 24 documentaries on Ron Killings, like his whole career from when he started as K-Quick to becoming NWA champion and coming back to WWE R-Truth. They did that whole story with him, and one of those things I remember from it specifically is his relationship with Vince. I think there was like a video in there of like those of them like dancing or something together. Vince loved R-Truth. Even though he put R-Truth in these somewhat comical segments that was supposed to be comical but didn't come off comical to some of us. And the 24/7 title, for example, even though he put him in those situations, R-Truth is a prime example of turning chicken shit into chicken salad. Like he always made the most of this situation. I don't think there would have been anybody that would have made the 24/7 title as irrelevant as it was into something. But he made it to something. I think he won it like 60, 70 times and stuff, maybe back and all this stuff. But he made it funny. He made it entertaining. Like that just shows how great of a superstar that he is. And it just felt wrong. Like, of all guys, like you let him go, and it kind of, in a way, with them doing this, it's kind of like ushering in a new era, or it's a reminder to everybody that like this ain't the same family owned WWE that you guys came to know. Now it's like now they're corporate, if we want to look at it that way. Now it's all about business. It's all about making money. And if you look at the reports, I mean, the reports will tell you that he got let go because of budget cuts and such. But my whole thing is, if it's about budget cuts, I mean, there's a couple of superstars on your roster that you're not using. I mean, I know I'll tell you a little short story. During the pandemic, when WWE released so many talent, I remember I put up a post on Facebook, and I'm gonna channel my inner Stephen A. I remember specifically, I was like, Bray Wyatt gone, Mickey James gone, Karrion Kross gone, Keith Lee gone, but y'all still held on to Baron Corbin. Put that post up, and so many people attacked me on it, saying, what type of fan are you to kind of want somebody else to lose their job just because you're upset that somebody else got fired? And that's right. We really shouldn't be wishing somebody else loses their job because we're heartbroken. Somebody else leaving. But at the same time, when I see the reports about budget cuts and such, I'm thinking of at least 10 or 20 guys that they aren't utilizing right now that don't even match the don't even match what our truth brings to the table that they could have let go if it was about budget cuts.
Yeah.
Now Carlito specifically, I mean, I wasn't too surprised about it. I mean, Carlito, as much as comical as Carlito has been in the Judgment Day for the last 2 years. Yeah. You kind of knew that there was going to come a point in time where they were going to have to cut bait, because realistically they signed him and they really hadn't did much with him. He came back at that backlash in Puerto Rico, got that great pop, and they really didn't do anything with him. He just came back as a heel. They just put him in the group, and then he just stayed there for 2 years, and he collected a paycheck for it. So that's all. Kudos to Carlito for that. But
already went back to Puerto Rico and won a title. So
a title, exactly. So that's why Carlito I'm not too upset about, because I already know he was going to land on his feet anyway, and they weren't really utilizing him in the first place. But our truth is just on a different level, because you know about his relationship with Vince McMahon and the fact that, like I said, he took chicken shit sometimes that he was given and turned it into chicken salad. He's so comical. Like WWE put out, matter of fact, I don't think it was WWE, but someone else that put out the highlight clip of all his comical moments, and some of that stuff I even forgot. Like simple things like being in the ring with the Big Show and knocking his own self out, like stuff stuff that you think about. But it just goes to show that this is the era that we're in right now with the TKO. It's not going to be about keeping people around because of sentimental reasons. Now it's all going to be about financial reasons, and you see that now with the fact that WrestleMania is not going to be in New Orleans, and that the reports are saying that's going to be back in Las Vegas. Like Vince McMahon would never do that. Vince McMahon, announce the location. That's that, and that's where we're going, and we're not changing anything unless something happens like COVID, for example. But like I said, it's a different company now, and this release kind of puts the stamp on that. Like, this is TKO right now.
When you even mention that, it just reminds me that UFC is big in Las Vegas.
That too.
And maybe TKO was just looking at it like, hey, we have our head base in Las Vegas. Let's just stay here and work out in Las Vegas. Like, it already works. We already have the people lined up to vendor it, have all the connections already. So it's like, just go back to Vegas. And it's just like, that would never happen underneath Vince, right? Like Vince would never try to do that in that capacity. But as for R-Truth, looking at it from that standpoint, it's just like, it felt like a death in the WWE family. Like, R-Truth, like, you literally just saw this guy last week wrestling John Cena, having these promos, even on SmackDown, recently on SmackDown, 2 days before his release, we saw him there with the Bloodline and having a comedy moment with them. That's just like, R-Truth is just gold, whatever you put him in. To see him let go, which, if they're going to say budget cuts, I'm like, okay, I can like, whatever. You're trimming the fat of WWE in a sense, which is very alarming, and we'll see how that goes along with other reports out there. But overall, for me, it was just like, if you knew you were going to let go of R-Truth, why not turn that into an angle that makes his departure a little bit more palatable, a little bit more understandable why he got released? And with that, I'm thinking about John Cena.
Yes.
John Cena's heel run has been stale. Let's call it what it is. It hasn't been good. Nothing has changed from John Cena. He just says he's a bad guy now and kicks people in the nuts. That's literally it. That's literally what he did to R-Truth on Saturday Night's Main Event. My whole thing is, if you knew, maybe R-Truth knew about this as well, like he knew it was going to happen, and just have one last hurrah on TV. All right, cool. Maybe he knows that. I think Ron Killings is over 50. So him knowing, maybe he didn't know that. Okay, whatever the case may be. But why not capitalize that creatively as WWE and make this an angle where John Cena says, I'm going to put the title up against R-Truth, but only if you put up your career.
Simple.
And make it matter.
Yeah.
Make it feel something. Make it actually mean something for him to beat R-Truth. Because when we beat R-Truth on Saturday, it meant nothing in the grand scheme of things. Yes, you put away R-Truth, your old rival, or whatever the case may be, back in like 2011 when they had that capital punishment matchup and stuff like that, and that whole feud with the was that the Miz and R-Truth? going back and forth with the John Cena and The Rock, or CM Punk and The Rock in some capacity like that.
Oh yeah, with John Cena and The Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make it matter to a point where he puts his career on the line and loses? So number one, he can get that send off on TV from the fans, even in kayfabe, whatever the case may be. Even if we didn't know he was going to get released or whatever the case may be, let him have that send off in front of the fans on TV and have that moment, rather than just doing it behind the scenes. No, we're never going to see him again. Well, we're probably going to see R-Truth in some capacity, hopefully in the future. But looking at it is just like, that's a letdown from WWE Creative, which I've been complaining about the booking for a long time. That's something that's easily could have been done in 2-3 weeks. We didn't need a crazy buildup. You could have instantly just put R-Truth's career on the line and have John Cena end his career. I know Bully Ray came out and said, hey, I wanted R-Truth gone, XYZ, and make John Cena the capital. It would have meant more if it was a career versus title type of match and he retired R-Truth. That would have gotten John Cena legitimate heat in this, and it would have been a good farewell tour for R-Truth. Like, we would have saw R-Truth, he would have been able to stand up, wave to the fans, and have that moment. And I feel like that's just wasted. And it's just like, why didn't they capitalize on that if they knew they were going to release him a week later? And I know Triple H has come out and said, well, he didn't say, but the reports are that it was Triple H's decision not to renew R-Truth, Carlito, and I believe it's Sarah Logan's contracts as they expired. And I'm just like, if that was the case, why not make this something matter and mean more in the long run, rather than just pulling the rug from underneath our feet? And it's just, that's the sucky part about it. And that's what I think I'm more mad. I'm mad about the release, but I'm mad about how it was done. That's my main thing.
Yeah, because you definitely, like you said, you definitely could have made a story out of it and somehow tried to salvage what's left of this heel turn by John Cena. I'm almost at the point right now. I mean, I'm almost at the point right now that if like nothing changes by SummerSlam, you might as well just flip him back to babyface again. Because realistically, what exactly are we doing? Are we making any progress? We're not. We're pretty much at the same place. We've been swimming in circles with John Cena for like the last 3 months since WrestleMania.
My thing about that, it's been so bad, I don't care if he turns to be a good guy anymore. That's where I'm at. We're legitimately 4 months into this heel turn. I don't care.
and you're supposed to, like, this is the story that's supposed to be carrying WWE right now. Like, this is supposed to be their top storyline right now, and it's not. And it's ridiculous. And in regards to the R-Truth, like I also saw another report that apparently that maybe that they knew that the WWE knew months ahead of time that they were going to release R-Truth, and John Cena heard about it and kind of put Truth in this position to kind of show the office, like, yeah, you don't need to cut this guy, like he's valuable. Like that's another report that's out there right now.
If that is true, that is crazy.
Yeah, that ends up being factual. I mean, that's just mind-boggling.
That even adds more insult to injury on this release, because it's like, if we knew this was going to happen, is R-Truth Ric Flair? No. Is R-Truth even Shelton Benjamin? No. Is he Chris Jericho? Is he other guys like that have been around for a long time? No. But the presence that he's had in WWE for over 20 years, and for it to end just like that, like he was a backstage person, you know what I mean? Or somebody that hasn't been a prominent figure on TV for the past couple of years, had WrestleMania moments, had Royal Rumble moments, had these comedic moments that are on clipped on social media infamy. Now to just be cut away just doesn't sit right. And I'm just like, that's the main thing. And especially if John Cena was pushing, hey, let's get this guy on TV, or at least give him one last little show. And for them to just end it like that just sucks. Flat out sucks. And I know they say Triple H was behind this, but if this was TKO and the budget cuts and stuff like that, and they had to make this happen, it's just like, why not make it worth something to the public and the fan to just appreciate R-Truth and what he's done? He didn't have that moment on TV. And just for to end it like that just sucks. And now R-Truth is doing his best thing on social media and stuff like that, saying follow us and sharing people's love and support for him. So he's loving this right now. But it's just like that just doesn't sit right as a fan, as a person who's been watching WWE for years. It's like usually it's a lot. I know in the wrestling business they always say, "Hey, you lose on your way out," and stuff happens, and you never know when your last day is going to be. But for that to happen to him, that's the part that sucks, because it's like, why not make something of it? And then after that, we've been talking about how you and Lewis have been talking about how him beating R-Truth would add to his heel turn, how he does it XYZ.
Yeah,
and then just to have it flat like that,
yeah, it's just like,
what was the point?
There was no point. I mean, I said that I had suggested that, like, to maybe somehow get this heel turn back on track of John Cena taking out R-Truth, laying a vicious beatdown. And I suggested that because R-Truth is such a sympathetic babyface character that if you really want to get John Cena over as a heel, like having Cena just completely annihilate him, it could have possibly gotten the fans back on board with it. But that was more about because of R-Truth, not so much John Cena. That even goes to show how valuable he is, bro. He can do things that other talent can't do. Like they don't. Who do they have on their roster right now that you can just split into that R-Truth role right now? They don't. Like they who has great comedic timing like R-Truth right now? There's nobody.
Yeah, nobody. So, nobody on that level. Yeah. There's people that can be funny, but not at that level where they need it. But R-Truth and Carlito were released. Sarah Logan was also released.
And keep in mind, R-Truth is the only talent that's actually following us right now on X. So I'm always appreciative for that.
Thank you for the follow, Ron Killings. Thank you for that. But ultimately, it's just like, how I just don't see it as justifiable, especially if they knew he was on his way out. At least make it matter. At least make it mean something. And for just to do that, and maybe that's what R-Truth was okay with. But it's just like, that just doesn't sit right. And who knows?
Whoever is blessed enough to get that his first post interview, it's gonna be very fortunate. That's gonna be.
And he just had an interview with Chris Van Fleet, so it's like he's been in the public
on his career and stuff. Yeah, but post release, whoever gets that first interview, I'm hoping it's busted open radio. So Mark Henry and all of them can actually have a compelling interview with him. But that first interview is going to be very eye opening. I know because of how R-Truth comes off, he's not going to be like that bitter type that's going to like attack.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to be like that. I just don't see him being that way unless we learn something that, like, they did something to him while he was going out, maybe something of that nature. But I definitely don't think like he's gonna be like spiteful or anything of it.
Oh no. He's just humble and he's been grateful for the opportunity, I'm pretty sure. But it's just like that it doesn't sit right. But we'll see what happens going forward, and hopefully R-Truth can come back to WWE in some capacity.
Give him a Legends contract. Like I even we'll continue. You gotta give him a Legends contract. Like, even if you're not gonna use him in room, you could use him as an agent. You could use him as a producer. Send him down to NXT to be a trainer to help people with promos and get character work. I just named like 4 or 5 things you could have did with him. Like
that was my thing. Doesn't The Godfather have a Legends deal?
Yes, he does.
The R-Truth couldn't get a Legends deal. Fucking, he couldn't go down to NXT and help Out the Mud, that group down there, or any of those people.
There's so much you could have did with him, and just cutting them to the side like.
That's why it doesn't sit right.
Feels wrong. Yeah,
just feels bad.